needs to get almost all the way around, if not all the way around the building. Okay, the second program that we are implementing is, we call it the Multifamily Sweeps Program. It's essentially, we are going out and inspecting all of the multifamily residential housing, and we use the International Property Maintenance Code to do it. And this is really a sort of, if you've heard of the broken windows theory, the idea is that small violations make it appear that your community does not care, and the crime rate can actually increase in a community because criminals feel like no one cares about it. And so as you start to address some of these minor violations, there can be a corresponding reduction in crime.
Does that include long-stay hotels?
No, it does not. This program does not at this time. Yeah. But long-stay hotels would be a commercial venture that, you know, we could look at the zoning. If there was a zoning violation or something, it would fall under the proactive code enforcement program that we have.
Yeah. Does this multifamily only include the city limits of Lawrenceville, or are you have a Lawrenceville address but you're actually outside the city limits?
Yeah, only the city limits of Lawrenceville.
So that would have to be Gwinnett County then.
Right. Yeah. I'd be glad that if you want to help me get a contract with Gwinnett County. So, you know, the city has a substantial interest in ensuring that its rental properties are kept up to code. And let's face it, commercial rental properties, or I should say multifamily residential properties, are a business, and they're owned by investment companies typically, or just a landlord who owns a building or two, and they have a responsibility to maintain the place and make sure that it's an appropriate place to live for people. So, so with that, what's the purpose? Protect the health, safety, and welfare of the residents. We want to ensure that multifamily rental properties comply with building, fire, and property maintenance codes. We want to promote healthy neighborhoods, and we want to preserve property values. And as I said before, we use the International Property Maintenance Code typically. We could also use building codes or fire code as well. And so the first thing we did was we wanted to identify all the apartments in town, because we want to stress that this is something that we're doing everywhere. We're not going to pick on any one particular apartment complex or multifamily residential area. And so we used some GIS information that we got from Gwinnett County, and we created a map. It's a little bit difficult, I'm sure, to see from back there, but we've essentially highlighted all the areas, and then we've got a spreadsheet actually that goes along with this that identifies the areas, the apartments. And so what do? Well, we catalog all of the infractions, all the violations, and we take a photo of them, and then we create a report, and then we meet with the apartment owner or the multifamily residential owner, and then we agree on an abatement schedule. Again, it's that education process. We go to them, we show them what's wrong, and then we give them an opportunity to come into compliance. So this is kind of what our program looks like. We use a different software than the one I mentioned before, but again, it's on an iPad. So we go out in the field. I don't know if you can see it, but the picture on the right has a lot of red dots on it. Each of those red dots represents a violation. And so we take all that data, and then we'll create a report. This is a page out of the report. We show a photograph. This particular photograph, this fence has some problems with some of the pickets that need to be replaced. And then we tell them where that is and what the code reference is in the International Property Maintenance Code, because we want to convince them that it's a violation, it needs to be fixed. And so here's some before and after. We looked at this this townhouse complex, and the outside of it was kind of moldy, so we made that comment. And so before is on the left and after is on the right. These people were great to work with. They came into compliance, basically power washed the outside of in this particular case, cleaned it up. Some of what we found some repairs that had already been made, but you have to essentially paint after you make the repair. You have to caulk and you have to paint. And so it's hard to see in this light, but on the left, there's a couple of replacement clapboards, and the owner painted the building. And then roofs and drainage, you see this a lot. There's a downspout that is basically just discharging right against the foundation, and so the owner can just put an extension on the downspout. 1 minute, okay. Again, before and after, trash, some holes in soffits and whatnot, some rotted wood. This is all stuff that needs to get replaced. So, with that, I will turn it back over to you.
You only do multi-family?
Rich will be available after the meeting, and